SimTheWorld here. We are back with Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. It's been a while. We've not had a full restoration series in quite some time, but as I've been making mention in the regular series, we've got a Porsche that we need to tear the engine down apart on. I will be upfront real quick here. I don't know, I've noticed it more with the modded cars. This is a DLC car, but if you look here, I'm going to pull out, and this is kind of the way I've been checking cars. It looks good here. There we go. I'm getting some dropped frames when I'm looking at the engine. And of course, like I mentioned, I normally only notice this when it comes to modded vehicles. There's more assets. It's not as smoothly optimized, things like that. But what that tells me with this car in particular, this DLC, is maybe it's a more poor optimized version. I don't know. Normally, I don't struggle with the loading of the vehicle, so forgive the dropped frames. To be very clear, my graphics card is only at 30-40%. I try to make sure we have good graphics for the series, but I think it's just the DLC isn't that well optimized for the game. That's the only thing I can determine. But with that complaint set aside, our focus today is going to be fully restoring this. I already did some of the work tearing out the suspension. I left just a little bit here. But as I mentioned in our full series, the goal is to take a look at this engine, because that's where a lot of the detail has gone in this model. And that's probably why it's not as well optimized as some other cars in the game is. Because if you look, the complexity of the engine in this Porsche car is absolutely phenomenal. There is just so much going on here. We're going to take off the gearbox here. Yeah, again, those drop frames, forgive them, they're going to come up here and there. I've tried all sorts of settings. I just can't get it dialed in. That's why I think it's more the game than the PC. But yeah, we've got the timing covers. We've got 3 different components here. We've got a lot to go through, a lot to tear down. And I'm not as familiar with these types of engines. If we jump over to the car status, this is the B6 engine, factory engine for the Porsche 911 RS America DLC. So, with this said, we already got this torn apart. Let's go ahead. I think I need to drain the oil for... No, I don't think... That doesn't have an oil pan on it. This came from the junkyard. I should be able to pull the engine out straight. And there we go. That should be everything off the car. Yeah, frame at 14, interior at 12, and everything at 1%. So, of course, my favorite thing to do is pop on the welder. $1,000. That looks like a brand new body. Wish it was that simple in real life. Let's throw in some interior parts. And I'm going to kind of cruise through the assembly of this vehicle right now. Just the interior and the suspension, because I want to get that set up so then we can spend all of our time focused on the engine, of course. So with that, cue the music. Alright, so the car should look night and day different. Everything's all put together, except for the engine. Everything's removed, everything's cleaned up. You can see our global body condition is 90%. We got a couple more items to put back on. Frame and interior is 100%. All that's left is to put this engine together, and of course, I did tear down what we had. I repaired what I could, and we're going to put this together piece by piece. There will be some parts that I either have duplicates of. I was trying to figure out everything we need from the get-go, but of course, that is really tough to do. Like, you can already see I'm missing rings, and we're going to be bouncing in between the store and our engine, just because I'm not as familiar with this car as I am with others. Some of these, they're easier to do. They're easy to kind of gauge what I'm going to need beforehand, because I've worked on so many of these cars in game that the V8s in particular, I've got a part list in my mind at this point. But that's the whole reason we're looking at this Porsche DLC, is to look at the complexity of this engine and exactly how it's put together. Now, I don't claim to be a Porsche expert here, but starting off with the camshaft and putting the pistons on it from the get-go seems so backwards. It really does seem backwards that we put the fuel filter in too, but we can ignore that right now. Let's get the engine block on. So we do have one at full condition. Of course, I will mention we are trying to make sure we put in the tuning parts where we can. In the car itself, the exhaust parts, there are tuning components for, which I was happy to see. I feel like that's something so simple that all the DLC cars should have a full tuning exhaust system, but we've seen in a lot of cases that's not entirely accurate. All right, let's get the other engine block on, and we should be good to go. So, cruising right along, and this is about, already our engine block was split in half. This engine is a beast. It is so crazy the detail they went to, and this is probably, I can see why there's performance issues while this car is loaded in the garage. Because there are so many parts. I feel like there's almost twice as many parts as there are in a regular engine. Let's go through here, try to use these tuning parts while we can. I don't know why there's that regular one that slipped through. We should have everything we need for the tuning. Gotta be careful. I did go through, I wasn't sure what would have tuning components, what wouldn't, when I was putting together the list, so that's why there's a strange assortment of parts. Start down here, and we'll do the same. So it is a 6-cylinder car, though. The cylinders, of course, are set up in quite a different way than we're accustomed to. What would be really cool to see is if they could add some way of maybe a test bench for the engine if we're able to get it started. It'd be so cool to see moving components in this game. I'm not expecting that in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 whatsoever. I don't see how they do that anytime soon. But I think that would be a cool way to evolve the game and kind of take it to the next level where we get a taste of what things look like as they move. Wow, look at this. I actually did get a good amount of the parts, and I'm sure that's where this ends. Because there's a whole nother timing side on the other. I think I'm going to need all those parts. But overall, I think we did a pretty good job. Look at that. That's half the engine. What's down here? This is the camshaft bearing. So it is pretty interesting how this is all aligned. Let's see, spark plugs. Hopefully I don't have to sneak those in on the side. That would be really bad. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Let's actually check up here. Oh no. Look at all those spark plugs. I'm gonna have to flip this engine over and do it from the other side. Make sure we hit everything. Because yeah, we missed quite a bit there. That's all of them over there. So there's 6 per side, 12 in total. But yeah, you can see once I get this bearing cap on top here, it's probably going to remove access to everything else. And I might. Okay, we do have the timing component here. Got the camshaft, we know that. I got plenty of camshafts. Do I have a timing belt? Ooh, we have the timing chain. Fantastic. You know, I didn't do too bad. Okay, so we do need that timing cover. I think I need another bearing cap. So this is where I'm going to run to the store real quick. Let's see, do I need an ignition distributor? I do. And we need the caps. I don't think there are tuning parts. Let's check it out. Jump over to the tuning shop. Check the ignition components. And I'm not seeing anything for the B6 engine. So we're going to come back here. All right, so I'm finishing up the top here. We do have to flip this over to get the rest in place. Oh yeah, I don't know if I have any engine head covers here. We've got the one for this side. Let's see if I have B. I do. Yeah, there are a lot of components here. This is a lot to take care of. I don't think, yeah, we need a power steering pump. We'll put the cover on. We're good there. Everything we can do from the other side, too. Yeah, we are going to... Before I get too far, let's flip this engine over. I'm getting concerned. Maybe I can flip it just like that. Give this a shot. So where did I need the spark plugs at? I might be able to fish them in through this side. That's not too bad at all. And there's one more hiding over here. I think that's it. Yeah, I'll need some covers. Need the power steering pump. We do have 2 fuel rails, so that's good. I'll need the... Oh, I think I do have both intake manifolds. That's perfect. Again, I went through the parts list blind, not knowing, not having worked with this engine before. I probably could have looked up a parts list before, but that takes the fun out of it. I like being surprised. I wonder if there's a blower. Yeah, let's check out. I know there isn't a tuning alternator, so there's no point in looking for that. We've got the fan here. Grab the serpentine belt. Both of them. There's 2 serpentine belts here. I think... Yeah, let's get the rest of the parts. Make sure I do have the air filter. We're good there. We'll need the top cover. All right, we're getting close. I'm going to finish up this engine and we'll be back to put it in the rest of the car. The engine is complete. Let's pull this off the stand and we can get this back into the car. I wish we could get the engine crane on the rear end of the car instead of the front here. That would look less weird. I need the battery too. No, maybe I already put the battery in. Let's take a look here. Everything should be in. Let's got the oil filter on the side here. I think everything else, we just need to put the gearbox in. Let me throw some oil in. Gotta make sure we have some oil. We'll get this painted, and we will throw this up on the dyno just to see how much additional horsepower we got out of the engine. So let's lift this up. I'll get the gearbox on. Let's take a look real quick what the standard horsepower of this car should be. So this engine should be putting out 262 horsepower. That's good to know as we get this up on the dyno, because given the amount of tuning parts that were on this car, we should be getting a significant boost in performance. We need the starter, and I don't think I have a starter on me, so we'll have to grab one too from the store. I'll meet you guys over at the paint shop in just a minute. I'm in the paint shop, and the only couple little skins I see on the car, see if I can't get a shot of this, is you have the little RS, and you can have that in either black or white. So we're going to opt for not having one. Let's see if we can't. I don't know what a good color on this is. We're not doing white. That's the one thing I know we're not doing. I don't mind the black. But what do you normally see? I feel like you normally see a Porsche in like some orange. Let's go with something like that. I feel like that has a decent look to it. I'm not all about the bright yellow Porsches. That's just screaming too much. Let's go get this on the dyno and see what kind of horsepower we have for the engine now that all the tuning components are in. And it's looking like we're going from the 262 all the way to 479 horsepower. That's not too bad at all. We've almost... That's a huge difference. I wouldn't say we doubled it, but we got pretty damn close. Let's head out here. No, I didn't want it on lifter A. I wanted it in garage A spot. There we go. The last thing we have left to do is get the license plate on here. I was saving this, so throw it done. Halfway done. This is a midlife crisis car, so I thought it was appropriate. And there you have it. This is the Porsche DLC. I feel like as far as the optimization in the game goes, performance may vary. If you're running something that's close to minimum spec, I would try the other DLCs first. If you are running a powerful rig and don't mind a little stuttering here and there, then by all means, this engine is fantastic. It's so in-depth. I can't wait to take some more jobs working on the engine just in the regular gameplay. But with that, I think we're going to wrap this episode up here. If you guys have any suggestions, any cars that you want to see in future episodes of the full restoration series, let me know that down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching as I simulate my life one game at a time. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the future action. You can follow on Twitter for updates to future games being played, as well as follow on Twitch, as I'll occasionally stream live. Thanks, and I'll see you next time at SimTheWorld.